Well, welcome to the Creighton Cross Country Get to Cup preview show. My name is Rob Anderson with Creighton Athletics. We're joined by head coach Chris Gannon, as well as assistant coaches Matthew Fayers and Tony Sorrentino. Guys, the question we always get asked is, what's going to happen with the season? Are you going to have a season, and when is it going to be? Are you guys even still practicing? What can you tell us to update us about the progress of your squad?
Yeah, thanks, Rob. We've been practicing for officially 2 weeks now, and it's been great to get the kids back on campus and back to a regular practice schedule. Obviously, some changes. Our men and women are practicing separately right now, which is the first time that we've ever done that here since my time. But just to be able to get them through workouts and see everybody again, even if it's behind a mask, has been pretty awesome. With the NCAA canceling the fall championship season, Coach Fayers and I spent a lot of time coming up with our next best option. And we want our kids to have the opportunity to compete. Our college kids last competed indoor in February, and then their outdoor track season was canceled. Our incoming freshmen, a lot of those kids haven't raced since November of last year when they finished up their state championships. So as Coach Fayers and I were talking, we decided to come up with a fall racing series. And so we now have the Get To Cup, and we're following our normal racing schedule about every other week starting September 5th. And it's a series of races or different events throughout the fall. Each one of them we scored as teams as well as individually, and at the end we'll crown a champion. So a week ago, we held a draft. Coach Sorrentino, Coach Fayers, myself, we held a draft. We each drafted our own teams, and now we're getting ready for the season to kick off with our first race on Saturday.
Tony, we'll start with you. I understand you got Chase Howard in the draft. Chase led the team in each of the races 2 years ago, then missed last season. But what excites you about a guy like Chase Howard, having him back?
Well, after watching him redshirt last year, we were sort of drooling at his potential for this year before the COVID thing came in. But we get to see Chase every single day in practice, and we kind of got a look into what the future for him is with our indoor season until it was halted. And he's just an incredible talent and a hard worker, and he's a true leader for our team. We're excited to watch him run.
You guys had a bunch of leaders last year on the men's side with Chase out. One of them, Coach Gannon, Danny Bonneman, as a freshman, really came in, made an immediate impact. What do you like that you see from him?
Yeah, Danny, definitely. I mean, we had high expectations for Danny coming in as a freshman. He definitely exceeded those. We had him in our top 7 all fall last year. He did phenomenal moving up to that race distance, 8K and then 10K. Had a great indoor season. Probably the most impressive thing about Danny is the work he put in actually after COVID. And so he actually ran a solo time trial in April, broke 15 minutes as a freshman, which is an incredible accomplishment for someone to do that as a freshman and solo on their own. So we're excited to have Danny, and he's a good kid, hard worker, and definitely does things the right way.
And then Matthew, John Quigley was another one of the leaders last year. His first season in the program after transferring in. You were able to grab him in the draft. Tell us about John.
Yeah, as you said, John kind of made an immediate impact as a transfer, which coming in to the Creighton program, you don't have many transfers. So to see a guy just be able to contribute right away and be our number one pretty consistently, that kind of consistency factor was why I really wanted him to be a part of on the team. And so we're hoping that he's going to be consistently a top 3 guy and just help secure some much needed points moving forward.
Speaking of some, much needed points on the women's side, Matthew, you were able to draft both Danielle Hochalen and Marguerite Hendrickson, a pair of juniors who led the way most of last season on the women's side. How'd you get all these picks? And tell us about your women's team and those two especially.
The women's team is fantastic, just the way it was able to come together. I know a few people have kind of been comparing the side to the great Montreal Canadian teams of the 16s and 70s. And Danielle Hodelin's definitely Maurice Richard. She's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And then we can see Marguerite definitely as a Guy Lafleur type character who's just constantly there, going to be securing the top points, just reliable. Marguerite, especially, she's versatile. She's going to be able to help out in those mid-distance events. And Danielle as well. I foresee her dominating from the mile up. And so, you know, there's going to be some tactical choices, because I know these two coaches are going to, you know, have the fear of Danielle in their eyes. So, you know, managing Danielle's talent to secure some top points is going to be vital going forward. But I'm really hoping the women can really help put Team Fayers on the trajectory for a team championship.
Sounds exciting. I know you guys have, 6 freshmen as part of the program. In addition to Jack Larson's back and healthy for after struggling with some injuries the last couple of years. Why don't you guys tell me about one or two of the freshmen on each of your squads? Tony, we'll start with you, then we'll go to Chris. Just, you know, maybe a freshman, what they do or bring to the program that caused you to draft them.
One of our freshmen is Siobhan. She is an incoming freshman, and I've only got to really view her in practice for the last couple of weeks. But strong runner, hard worker. She's really blended into the program quickly. Has befriended a lot of the upperclassmen. Practice run, she's running at the front of the pack, and we're expecting great things out of her, despite the fact she's only been on campus for a couple of weeks.
And Chris, any freshmen stand out on your Get to Cup squad?
Yeah, we got a load of freshmen on my squad. You know, if you consider Jack Larson is back for his 3rd freshman campaign. You know, he was healthy for one race last year and was our number 1 during that one race. Jack was actually the first kid I ever signed, and so I've known the talent and potential he's had for a couple of years now, and he's finally healthy and looking really good. We also, you know, I was able to snag Tommy Ward. Tommy came to us out of Tennessee, incoming freshman this year. Phenomenal athlete. Ran in the 9:30s as a sophomore in high school for 2 miles on the track. And then on the girls' side of the freshmen, I was able to snag both Morgan and Caroline. Morgan is a complete stud. She would have put up some times this past spring had she had a track season that would have been very comparable, if not actually better potentially than Danielle's as a high school senior. And Caroline Giacchino is just a stud athlete, fierce competitor. She was all-state basketball player in the state of Illinois, all-state track, all-state cross country. Just that competitive edge that she's going to bring to the table is going to be pretty impressive.
Matthew, I know you loaded up on some veterans that we already talked about. Did you get any freshmen during the draft?
I did. I managed to snag one guy and one girl. And to see these freshmen compete this season is going to be really exciting. Coach Gannon was able to pull off a heck of a recruiting class this past season, arguably the best top to through bottom recruiting class. So to see what these athletes are going to be able to do this season is going to be really exciting. I managed to snag Marco, so one of the 2 guys. I'm excited to see what he can do. I feel like he was going to have a great season. He kind of got off to a great start. Obviously, Arizona starts a little earlier, so they managed to get some outdoor running in. So he's had a great summer. I'm looking forward to seeing him just fit into the top group of men. And then on the women's side, I have Jess. And Jess, I see a lot of Marguerite in her. She kind of specializes in those mid-distance, the 800, which we have a lot of mid-distance events coming up with the relays later on. So I think being able to specialize in those shorter events is going to be beneficial. But I think she's going to be able to prove herself over the long distance, and definitely an upside. So be watching for her to surprise a few people.
We will. Certainly, you've got a lot of talent from a competition sake when they're running, but I don't know who's responsible for the academic side of things, but the men had a 3.7 GPA. The women were over 3.8 last year, both best in the Big East. Who's responsible for all this academic success your kids have enjoyed?
You know, when I went through the interview process and the hiring process, that was one of the things they asked me is how was I going to build a successful program at Creighton? And my first response was that I was going to recruit Creighton kids. And a Creighton kid is a kid who's very, very strong academically, and who's coming to Creighton to receive one of the top educations in the entire country, especially business and pre-professional health. And those are the kids that, for the past 2 years, 3 years now, we've gone after. And it's paid off. As Coach Fair said, we signed arguably the top recruiting class in the history of the school this past year. And we've done that by recruiting Creighton kids, by kids who are going to be attracted to Creighton for the right reasons. And then our goal is to find the fastest, smart kids we can. And when you get a bunch of smart kids on your team, those GPAs, those kids are pursuing excellence, and those GPAs kind of take care of themselves because every one of them was pushing each other in the classroom as well as on the track and on the cross country course. And that's the exciting part about what we've got going on right now, is that bar is just continuing to elevate each year, academically, athletically, and it's exciting. Our men were preseason ranked prior to COVID. We're preseason ranked the most improved team in the Big East by the Wood Report. A year ago, they were ranked 5th most improved program in the entire country by the Wood Report. We're projecting our women would have had potentially their best finish ever in the Big East this year from the side of the school. And that's exciting to know that we're able to do this the right way with kids who come into Creighton for the right reasons to have the best education they can, and then go pursue professional and careers after that, and put out some great times on the course and on the track while they're here.
You've explained the reason why a prospective student athlete would want to consider Creighton. What's the best way to get noticed if you're a high school kid? How early should they be thinking about college? Because I know you're watching a lot of races, always checking times to figure out what those good fits are in the future.
Yeah, no, it's definitely gonna be a very interesting recruiting cycle right now. It's something Coach Fayers and I have spent a lot of time talking about. When we start to put that, those recruiting lists together as the junior cross country season comes around typically, and then we really focus on those junior track times in the spring before they head into their senior campaign. And obviously with not a track season happening for most of the country this past year, it's definitely changing things for us. Some people are having a cross country fall season, some people are not. And so, continuing to reach out to coaches and to continue to send information or time trials or Garmin data or videos. We've had athletes doing that. And so I think that student athletes being proactive through this process is going to be very important this year, more so in the past, just because we can't get on MileSplit or athletic.net and pull results and start to generate lists that way, just because there aren't results right now for parts of the country. And so, don't be afraid for kids to reach out, emails, or drop a message into social media, whatever that might be, and then we'll start that process. The NCAA says we can't communicate with the kid until after June 15th, heading into their junior year. So that's about when we start to look at things. Recruiting for cross country and track is very different than it is for basketball or volleyball or some of those other sports where you hear about kids, getting offers, as early as like a freshman year. Most runners aren't developed yet at that time. So the junior year is really when things start to pick up.
I know you guys do a lot of stuff on social media. What's the best way for kids to follow your program? What are some handles on social media that they should be following?
Coach Fayers is the social media expert, so I'll let him talk a little about what we've got going on social media and how to get in touch with us or to follow us along there.
So as Coach Gann said, I'm in charge of some of the social media aspects, mostly focused on Twitter and Instagram. So unfortunately, we do have different handles for both of them, just because one of them happened to be in use. So I believe it is BlueJayXC is our Instagram handle, and then Creighton Cross XC is our Twitter handle. And then for maybe the older folks, some people interested, we do have the Facebook. But primarily, the best way to look at some of the stuff our athletes are doing is definitely Instagram, just because we do have interviews over there. We have the stories, so kind of great way to get our athletes involved. And also, like, sometimes they do take over. We had a series this summer, the takeovers, so which were quite a resounding success. The athletes enjoyed it. And we had good feedback. So we'll be continuing to push stuff out on Instagram primarily.
Yeah, those takeovers over the summer, I saw a lot of them. They were very well done, and certainly the kids keep busy. And you know, it's always interesting to see how they adjust, especially during a summer like this past one, where a lot of their activities and normal workout schedules are definitely had to be adjusted. But you know, I think whether it's through social media videos like this or just some of the fun competitions you guys are doing to keep things competitive throughout the fall, it's really been great to see. And I know you're excited for another great season to get started. I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight on this edition of the Creighton Cross Country Get to Cup Preview Show. Thanks again, guys. We'll join you again soon.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.